Welcome to KFC 108. They say some jobs change you. This one broke me. If you're reading this, you've either found my old journal or hacked the backup files I uploaded to my personal drive. What I'm about to share isn't fiction, and it sure as hell isn't some marketing stunt. This is a first-hand account of my year working the night shift at a rundown KFC nestled deep off Highway 73 in rural Kentucky, known by the few who survived as KFC 108. If you're planning to work here, burn this now. If not, keep reading, but know that once you learn the rules, you are part of them. Chapter 1. The First Interview. The store sat like a carcass rotting in the forest's edge, tucked behind an abandoned truck stop. The neon signs barely flickered, the colonel's face half melted by time and neglect. When I pulled up for the interview, my GPS had already lost signal 5 miles out. I should have turned around. A man with a voice like dry gravel and eyes that looked too tired for his age greeted me. "Name's Travis. You sure you want to work here?" I laughed nervously, mistaking it for dry humor. "I need the hours." He nodded, handed me a paper with 7 handwritten rules. "Memorize these. You screw up once, you're gone." Chapter 2. The Rules of Night Shift. The paper read, "Clock in before 10:06 p.m. Not a minute earlier, not a second later. Never unlock the freezer past midnight, even if you hear knocking. The security camera in the break room shows things that aren't real. Ignore it. Feed the man in the crawl space his meal by 11:33 p.m. He likes extra crispy. If a customer in a black trench coat enters, serve him first. Don't speak unless spoken to. The fryer hums when it's asleep. If it starts to scream, turn off all lights and hide in the mop closet. Never leave the building before 6:06 a.m., not even if it's on fire." There were smudges on the bottom of the page, looked like old blood. I stared at it too long. Chapter 3. My First Shift. By 10:05 p.m. I was clocked in. Travis handed me a headset and apron, then disappeared behind the office door. The first few hours were quiet. I cleaned, checked supplies, reheated chicken. At 11:33 p.m., I heard a scraping noise. Remembering rule number 4, I placed a fresh box meal under the sink and opened the latch to the crawl space. A pale, wrinkled hand slowly emerged and snatched the box, then retreated. I vomited in the sink. I tried to shake it off, keep my mind busy. There was something wrong with the air in that place, too. The vents blew cold, but smelled like wet paper and meat left out too long. I swear I heard whispers riding on the breeze. One moment, they were just outside my periphery, and the next, they were inside my skull. By 2 a.m., I was mentally exhausted. The shift dragged, with no customers and no word from Travis. I looked in the office once. Empty. Lights off, door wide open. I didn't remember hearing him leave. A soft creaking noise drew my attention to the dining area. One of the booths, the one closest to the window, had someone sitting in it. I didn't hear the door chime. I didn't see a car outside. It was a man dressed in denim overalls with a flannel shirt and a dusty ball cap. He didn't move, didn't blink, just stared at the table like he was waiting for someone or something. I approached cautiously. "Hey, sir, we're not serving dine-in this late." No response. I reached the table and stopped. There was no one there. I didn't walk back to the kitchen. I ran. Chapter 4. The First Violation. My second week, I broke rule number 3. The camera in the break room showed someone standing behind me. I turned around. Empty. The figure was tall, draped in a tattered raincoat, soaked through despite the clear weather outside. Its head was cocked unnaturally far to the side, and when I blinked, it was gone. But the image lingered on the monitor. Later that night, I found claw marks in the stall door of the employee bathroom. Deep, uneven. Something had tried to get out, or in. Worse still, my reflection in the mirror blinked when I didn't. It smiled when I frowned. I didn't sleep that morning. When I came in the next shift, Travis didn't say a word, just handed me a fresh copy of the rules. Rule number 3 was underlined 3 times in red. This copy was laminated, like it had been passed down. I asked him then, "What is this place?" He didn't look up. "You don't want to know. Just survive. That's the job." I almost quit that night. I stood outside, keys in hand, 1 foot in my car. But I couldn't bring myself to turn the ignition. Something watched from the tree line, pale eyes glinting in the shadows of the pines, the same kind I'd seen reflected in the mop water the night before. I walked back in, past the Colonel's half-melted grin, back into hell. Chapter 5. The Man in the Trench Coat. He came in at exactly 3:03 a.m. on a Thursday. The door didn't chime. The lights flickered once, then twice. The temperature dropped so fast my breath misted in the air. The fryer stopped humming. The soda fountain hissed and gurgled like it was choking. Every instinct in my body screamed to run, to hide, to disappear. But I was rooted in place. He was tall, impossibly tall, with shoulders too wide for any normal coat. His trench coat looked stitched from different materials, leather, wool, something that shimmered like wet skin under the fluorescence. A wide-brimmed hat covered most of his face, but I saw enough. His jaw didn't move when he spoke. Extra crispy, bucket, no sides. His voice didn't sound like a voice. It sounded like a cassette tape being rewound over a dying radio signal. My ears bled slightly, just enough to sting. I nodded, heart hammering, and moved like I was underwater. Every motion was forced, like pushing through molasses. I made the bucket exactly how he ordered, placed it on the counter, didn't speak, didn't look at his face. He didn't move to take it, just stood there. Then slowly reached inside his coat and dropped something next to the register. A coin, large, rusted, old. I swear, it pulsed like it was breathing. Then, just as suddenly as he arrived, he turned and walked out. No chime, no footsteps, no headlights in the lot. I went to pick up the coin. Travis's hand slapped mine away. "Don't ever touch it," he growled, voice lower than I'd ever heard. "Not unless you want him to come back hungry." I nodded, shaken. Travis picked it up with a pair of tongs and dropped it in a locked drawer behind the register. There were dozens of coins inside. "How many times has he been here?" I asked. Travis looked at me, eyes darker than usual. Too many. He only visits places like this, places where blood was spilled for profit, places that smell like old oil and regret. I asked what he meant by that, but he just walked away, left me alone with the fryer, the flickering lights, and the faint stench of something that had never been chicken. Chapter 6. The History of KFC. 108. Travis didn't talk much, but after enough nights surviving side by side in the dark, he started opening up. That night, after the man in the trench coat left, we sat in the office, the fluorescent light above us buzzing like a nest of hornets. "I've been here 26 years, he said, "and this place was cursed long before I started." I didn't interrupt. I let him speak. KFC 108 was built in the early 80s, but before that the land had a history. This was a Civil War site. A massacre, actually. Union soldiers slaughtered a Confederate camp in their sleep, burned the woods, poisoned the creek. Locals say the blood soaked so deep into the ground that nothing ever grew right after that. He reached into the bottom drawer of the desk and pulled out a dusty manila folder. Inside were newspaper clippings, faded photos, even some Polaroids. In the 60s, they tried building a truck stop here. It went under in less than 2 years. 10 people vanished. One of the old clerks gouged out her own eyes in the bathroom. They found her trying to crawl into the freezer. I swallowed hard, flipping through the yellowed pages. There was a photo of the land before the KFC was built. You could see a scorched ring in the dirt, like something had burned straight through the soil. "When they broke ground for this place," Travis continued, "they found bones, dozens of them, but they never reported it. Corporate paid off the diggers, said it'd be bad press for the brand." He chuckled, bitter and low. "They paved over corpses, sealed the past in grease and tile." A shiver ran through me. It wasn't just the story. It was how calm he was while telling it, like he'd made peace with it. I asked him, "Why stay?" He didn't answer right away, just stared at the monitor, showing the drive-through camera, empty road, swaying trees. "Someone has to feed the crawl space," he said finally. Chapter 7. Voices in the Freezer. It was nearly 12:15 a.m. when I heard it for the first time. I was restocking the fryer oil and prepping tomorrow's biscuit mix when a knock echoed from the back hallway. Sharp, repetitive. It came from the walk-in freezer. I froze, no pun intended. The memory of rule number 2 burned hot in my brain. Never unlock the freezer past midnight, even if you hear knocking. The knocking continued, then stopped. Silence for a beat. Then a voice. "Help me." It was a woman. Soft, scared. Sounded like she was crying. "Please, it's so cold." I backed away, gripping the metal prep table, my breath caught. I knew what I was hearing couldn't be real, but damn it if it didn't sound real. Like she was just behind the door, barefoot, shivering, maybe locked in by accident. "Is anyone out there?" she whispered. "It's so dark. Please open up. Please." The urge to open it clawed at my chest, but I didn't move. Then the voice changed. It was subtle at first, just a crack in the pitch like a skipped record. Then it deepened, became jagged, wrong. "Let me out," it growled, suddenly angry. "Let me out." Something slammed against the door hard enough to shake the frame. I yelped and stumbled back. There were fingernail scratches now on the inside glass window. Long, fresh. I hadn't seen them earlier that night. I bolted into the break room and slammed the door. My heart was hammering. I called for Travis over the headset, but there was only static. Minutes passed before the slamming stopped. When I finally worked up the courage to peek again, the hallway was empty. The freezer door was still closed, but now, scrawled across it in ice, were 3 words. "You already did." Chapter 8. The Friar Screams. It started on a slow Thursday night, the sort where time drips like fryer grease, thick and endless. I'd been alone for most of the shift. Travis was off, or maybe hiding. He had a way of disappearing without saying much. I was halfway through mopping the lobby when the fryer began to hum. That was normal. But then it whined, a high-pitched, teeth-grinding whine that reminded me of dental drills. It vibrated through the tiles, made my bones feel brittle. I dropped the mop. I knew what came next. The hum turned to a scream. Not a mechanical one, not the kind you hear when a part breaks or the oil overheats. This was human, shrill, tortured. It echoed like it came from a throat trapped in metal. I ran, straight for the mop closet. I killed the lights on the way, plunging the store into blackness. My fingers fumbled for the latch. The screaming got louder, louder. I could hear it inside my head now, like the fryer was behind my eyes. Just as I swung the door open, something skittered across the floor behind me, fast, wet. I didn't look. I slammed the door shut and huddled behind the mop bucket, heart pounding, breath held. In the pitch black, I could hear footsteps, bare feet slapping against tile, slow and uncertain, then breathing. Close. It stopped outside the door. 3 knocks. Not urgent, almost polite. Then it whispered, "We know you're in there." My mouth went dry. I bit the inside of my cheek to stop from screaming. Blood filled my mouth, warm and metallic. The voice wasn't human. It didn't echo right. It overlapped itself like 2 tapes playing the same sentence slightly out of sync. I don't know how long I stayed in there. Time fractured. I must have passed out because I woke to the store lights flickering back on through the slats of the door. The fryer was quiet. I crept out. Nothing was out of place. No footprints, no grease spill. The fryer's basket sat neatly above the oil like it had never moved, but on the stainless steel lid, something had been written in fryer oil. "You took too long." And beside it, 1 single blackened tooth. I threw it in the trash, bleached the fryer 4 times, and clocked out without saying a word. Travis didn't mention it the next night, but he handed me a new page of rules. Rule number 6 had changed. If the fryer screams, you have 18 seconds. Count carefully. Chapter 9. What lives in the ceiling? You don't really notice the ceiling when you work in a place like this. You're too busy watching your step, your back, the fryer, and whatever's coming out of the walk-in. But after the fryer incident, I started looking up a lot more. That's when I noticed the stains. Dark smudges spidering out across the acoustic tiles, like oil leaks that reached up instead of down. Some spots pulsed, subtly, like they were breathing. I told myself it was the lights playing tricks, or steam warping the tiles. But then I saw the eye. Just one, in the center of a cracked panel above the prep station. Round, wet, not blinking. It disappeared the moment I blinked. I thought I imagined it, until Travis handed me a screwdriver at the start of my next shift and said, "Don't work under tile 47. I didn't ask, but I counted. Sure enough, tile 47 was right above the prep station. The ceiling rules aren't on the official list. Travis called them the unwritten ones you learn the hard way. There are 4. Never work directly under tile 47. If you hear scratching, hum the KFC jingle, the old one. Don't mop the ceiling drips. If something falls out, don't look up. Don't. Ever. The jingle thing seemed dumb until I tried it. Around 2 a.m., I heard the scratching, a slow, dry drag, like claws on drywall. It started above the fry station and moved to the register. I panicked, forgot the tune, and started mumbling something that sounded like it. It stopped. For a few days, things were quiet. Then, the ceiling dropped something. It was during closing. Travis had already left, and I was locking up. I heard a splat behind me. I turned and saw it. A lump of flesh, steaming, still twitching. It looked like a raw chicken breast, except it had tiny teeth embedded along one side. I didn't touch it. I used 2 spatulas to shovel it into the dumpster. I bleached the floor twice, but the tiles kept peeling. Later that night, I had a dream. In it, I was on a ladder, prying open tile 47. Something was smiling behind it. Long, wet, all teeth. I woke up screaming, and my nose was bleeding. On my phone, a note had been typed at 3:47 a.m. It's rude to look at your betters. I didn't write it. The next night, Travis handed me a permanent marker and told me to draw a smiley face on tile 47. "You want it to feel seen," he said, "so it doesn't come down." I did it. I drew a shaky little smiley with X's for eyes. It hasn't moved since. The eye's still there, though. Watching. Just watching. Chapter 10. The Old Menu Board. Every haunted building has a heart. For most people, it's the basement or a locked attic. For KFC 108, it's the drive-through menu board. Not the one customers see now, the slick corporate touchscreen that blinks through $5 combo deals and limited-time offers. I'm talking about the old one, the original board from when the store opened in '83. It's out back now, mounted behind the dumpsters, wires ripped out like veins, the plastic face faded and peeling. Most people think it's garbage, decoration maybe. But sometimes, late at night, it turns back on. I noticed it first on a Tuesday. There was no wind, no customers, no trucks rolling by, just silence and moths flicking around the floodlights. And then the board lit up. It flickered once, and the cracked glass hummed to life. Backlit behind years of grime, words appeared. Not the current menu, not even one I recognized from my childhood. Coleslaw, 1.25. Family tomb platter, 6.66. Extra limbs, market price. I stood there, paralyzed, my headset crackling even though I'd turned it off. Something whispered through the speaker. One car in line. There was no car. I stepped closer. The screen changed. Order received. I turned around slowly. Nothing was there. Just the back lot, the rusted oil drums, and the trees whispering in the windless dark. I ran inside. Travis found me pacing by the fryer and handed me a lukewarm Pepsi. "You saw it," he said. I nodded. "Is it taking orders again?" Travis sat on a stool and stared at the floor. "Sometimes. Nobody knows who it's for. Nobody living, anyway." He reached into his apron and pulled out an old receipt. It was yellowed, curled, but fresh at the top. 1 family tomb platter, 1. Extra limbs, 3. 1 diet blood total, 14.66 cents. "No card used," he said. "No cash drawer opened." I asked him what we do with the orders. "You don't make them," he said. "Just pray no one tries to pick them up." That night, I checked the menu board again before I left. The screen was off, but scratched into the plastic, barely visible in the moonlight, were 5 words. "You forgot my sides." Like and subscribe for part 2.